When I first met Amelia, she looked like the kind of person everyone wanted to be around, soft-spoken, graceful, and full of light. She joined our university halfway through the semester, transferring from another city. Within days, she became everyone's favorite. The professors admired her intelligence, the girls wanted to be her friend, and the guys, well, they were all obsessed with her charm. But there was something about her that didn't sit right with me. Maybe it was the way she smiled, too perfect, too practiced. Or maybe it was how she avoided talking about her past, as if it didn't exist. Every time someone asked where she was from or why she transferred, she'd give a vague answer like, "It's complicated." Still, I couldn't deny that she fascinated me. There was a strange pull about her, like a story begging to be read but warning you not to turn the page. Then one day, I saw something that made my blood freeze. It was late, almost 9 p.m., and I was walking past the library. The lights were off except for one reading lamp near the corner table. That's where I saw her, Amelia, sitting alone, her face pale, her hands trembling as she stared at a photo on her phone. But it wasn't just any photo. It was a picture of a girl who looked exactly like her, same face, same smile, except that the photo was dated 2 years ago, and the caption underneath read, "Greater than in loving memory of Amelia Green, 2001-2023. My heart stopped. If the real Amelia Green had died 2 years ago, then who was the girl sitting in front of me? I didn't sleep that night. That photo wouldn't leave my mind, the same face, same name, but a death date 2 years ago. It couldn't be a coincidence, could it? The next morning, I tried to act normal in class, but my eyes kept darting toward Amelia. She was sitting 2 rows ahead, laughing with her friends, looking so alive, so real. For a moment, I wondered if I'd imagined the whole thing, maybe it was just someone else who looked like her. But when I saw her take out her phone, the same phone from last night, black case with a cracked corner, my stomach twisted. That was no dream. At lunch, I finally decided to ask her. "Hey, Amelia," I said, pretending to sound casual. "Did you used to live around here before transferring?" Her expression changed, just for a split second. A flicker of fear, quickly replaced by a smile. "No, not really," she said softly. "Why do you ask?" I shrugged. "Just curious. You look familiar, that's all." She laughed, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I get that a lot." That evening, I couldn't resist. I searched online for Amelia Green, the name from the photo. The first result hit me like a punch. Greater than local teen found dead after mysterious house fire. Amelia Green, age 22, was the only child of the Greens, a quiet family from Ridgefield. The case remains unsolved. There was even a photo attached, the same face as the girl who sat next to me in class. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking. The article was dated March 2023, exactly 2 years before she appeared in our university. But the worst part, the last paragraph said something that made my blood run cold. Greater than authorities reported that Amelia's body was never found. I couldn't focus on anything after that. Not my classes, not my friends, not even sleep. The more I read about the Ridgefield fire, the stranger it became. It wasn't just an accident, every article hinted at something darker. The official report said a gas leak caused the explosion that destroyed the Green family's house. But the comments under the news post told another story. Greater than, people heard screams before the fire started. The girl was seen outside the house minutes before it went up in flames. They never found her body, maybe she started it herself. I couldn't tell what was real anymore. But one thing was clear, the real Amelia Green died, or disappeared, the night of that fire. So who was the girl sitting in front of me every day? The next afternoon, I decided to take a small risk. I stayed behind after class, waiting until the room was empty. Amelia was still there, packing her bag slowly. I walked up to her. "Hey," I said, "I read something about Ridgefield. You ever been there?" She froze, her hands stopped midair, and the color drained from her face. Then, just as quickly, she smiled. "No," she said lightly. "Why?" I didn't answer. Instead, I watched her eyes, calm, but too calm, like someone wearing a mask they'd practiced for years. She picked up her phone and turned to leave, but as she did, something fell from her notebook, a small photo, slightly burnt around the edges. I picked it up before she could. It was a family picture, a man, a woman, and a young girl. The same girl who stood in front of me. But there was something off. The faces of the parents had been scratched out completely, their eyes torn away with a knife or nail. And on the back of the photo, written in faint, shaky handwriting, were 3 words that made my chest tighten. Greater than, she knows everything. I looked up, but Amelia was already gone. The next few days, Amelia avoided me completely. She changed her seat in class, stopped hanging out in the cafeteria, and started leaving campus the moment lectures ended. That only made me more determined. I needed to know who she really was, and what that burnt photo meant. So, one evening, I decided to follow her. She left campus around 7:30 p.m., walking quickly through the empty courtyard. Instead of heading toward the main gate like everyone else, she took the narrow path behind the old science block, a place no one used anymore since the new labs were built. The air there was cold and heavy, filled with the smell of damp wood and rust. The building she entered was half abandoned, an old storage hall used years ago for experiments and equipment. The windows were broken, and the door creaked when I pushed it open just enough to peek inside. At first, I saw nothing but shadows. Then, my eyes adjusted, and I saw her. Amelia stood in the center of the room, surrounded by photos, dozens of them, hanging from strings like some kind of eerie shrine. Each picture was of her. Different clothes, different places, but all of the same face. Except, in every single photo, her eyes were scratched out. She was whispering something under her breath. I leaned closer and finally heard her. Greater than, they shouldn't have lied, they shouldn't have left me there. My heart started pounding. Then she turned slightly, and for a second, her face was caught in the faint light from a broken window, pale, trembling, almost unrecognizable. On the floor beside her was a burnt ID card. I could barely read the melted letters, but the name was still visible. Greater than Amelia Green. That's when I stepped back, the old floorboard creaked loudly beneath my shoe. Her head snapped toward the sound. Who's there? She whispered. I froze, my heart hammering. Then, slowly, she smiled. Not a friendly smile, a knowing one. Greater than, you shouldn't have followed me, she said softly. Now you'll see what they did to me. The door behind me slammed shut on its own. My back hit the cold wall as the door slammed shut. The air in that storage hall turned heavy, like something invisible had just filled the room. Amelia didn't move closer. She just stood there, head tilted slightly, her face half in shadow. You wanted to know, she said quietly, so listen. I didn't answer, I couldn't. My throat felt dry, my pulse deafening in my ears. She stepped closer to the string of photos hanging around her, her fingers brushing over one that showed her as a child. They said it was an accident, she whispered. The fire. The explosion. But they were lying. Her voice cracked, not with fear, but with anger. I remember everything. The smell of gasoline. The sound of my mother's voice begging him to stop. My father was drunk that night, he locked me in the basement because I tried to stop him. She turned to look at me then, her eyes gleaming in the dim light. I screamed until the smoke took my breath. I thought I died there. Maybe I did. She walked toward an old metal cabinet, pulling out a dusty box. From inside, she took out a small burnt locket and placed it in my hand. It was half melted, but inside was a photo, a little girl and her mother smiling together. That's me, she said. Before everything. But if you, I started to say, my voice trembling. If you died in that fire. She smiled faintly. That's the question, isn't it? She whispered. I shouldn't be here, but someone wanted me to disappear, and someone brought me back. The room felt colder now. Every light flickered, every shadow seemed to move closer. Then she said something that chilled me to the bone. They thought they buried me. But they buried the wrong girl. Before I could ask what that meant, a noise echoed from outside, footsteps approaching. Amelia's eyes widened in fear. They found us, she whispered. You need to go. Now. I hesitated, staring at her. Who? I asked. Her voice dropped to a broken whisper. Greater than, the ones who made me lie. I wanted to run, but my legs felt frozen to the floor. Amelia's eyes darted toward the cracked windows, every muscle in her body tense. They're here, she hissed. The people who wanted me gone, they always come back. I heard it then, soft, almost inaudible, but unmistakable, footsteps. Not one, but many, echoing across the empty courtyard outside. She grabbed my arm, her grip unexpectedly strong. Listen to me carefully, she said. If they catch us together, it's over. They don't just kill, they erase. People forget. Memories vanish. And you, her voice trembled. You'd vanish too. I swallowed hard. Who are they? Her laugh was low, bitter. The ones who wanted my life. My real life. The life everyone thinks I had. Before I could ask more, a shadow moved across the window, elongated, unnatural. It didn't look like a person. It glided, shifting and warping in a way that made the hairs on my arms stand up. Amelia's eyes went wide, and for the first time, I saw fear, raw and unmasked. They're not human, she whispered. Not anymore. The shadows began pressing closer, creeping through cracks in the broken windows, crawling across the floor like liquid smoke. The air smelled burnt, metallic, like the aftermath of a fire. I stumbled backward, tripping over one of the hanging photo strings. They swung, slapping against my face, as if warning me to pay attention. And then I saw it, a photo I hadn't noticed before. It was me, not from today, not from yesterday, but a photo of me, taken without my knowledge, pinned to the string with a nail. Amelia grabbed my hand again, pulling me toward the back exit. They're tracking us. They know what I found. They know you're here. We don't have much time. We sprinted through the debris-filled hall, the shadows following, twisting, almost alive, reaching for us. Behind us, I could hear whispers, dozens of voices speaking at once, some familiar, some utterly alien. And then, just as we neared a rusted metal door at the back of the storage hall, one of the shadows lunged. It passed right through Amelia, and yet she screamed in pain, a sound that was human but echoed in a way that made my chest ache. She collapsed to her knees, clutching her stomach. There, inside me, she gasped. I grabbed her, pulling her toward the door. We have to get out, I shouted. She shook her head weakly, tears streaming down her pale face. No, not yet. You need to know the truth about me, about everything. And you'll never understand if I don't show you. The shadows were nearly upon us. The metal door loomed ahead, rusty and heavy. With a deep breath, she pushed me through it, and pulled me into a world I could never have imagined. The door slammed shut behind us, and the shadows recoiled as if burned. We were inside a hidden basement, one I never knew existed beneath the old storage hall. Dusty, dimly lit, filled with crates and strange equipment that looked decades old. But that wasn't what made my stomach churn. Amelia dropped to her knees, gasping for breath. Her hands trembled as she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small, tattered journal. The leather cover was cracked, and the pages inside were yellowed with age, filled with her handwriting, or at least, handwriting that looked eerily familiar. This, she said, is everything they didn't want anyone to know. I hesitated, but curiosity overpowered my fear. I opened the journal. The first pages were full of diary entries, but not just ordinary ones. They chronicled events from her life that didn't match the Amelia everyone knew. There were entries about strange experiments, people disappearing, voices she could hear that no one else could. And then a page that made my blood run cold. Greater than I am not who they think I am. I am what they created. They took her, the real Amelia, and erased her. And then they put me in her place. I looked up. Amelia's eyes were wet but focused, glowing faintly in the dim light. They wanted a perfect replacement. Someone who could hide in plain sight, someone no one would suspect. That's me. They implanted memories, made me learn her life, her friends, even her fears, and everyone believes it. I staggered back. Wait, you mean, you're not Amelia Green? She shook her head slowly. I look like her. I feel like her. But I am different. And the shadows, they are tied to her death. They follow me, because wherever she should have been alive, I exist instead. I felt the weight of her words crush me. I had been sitting next to a stranger for months, a stranger pretending to be someone who died in a fire. But what scared me most wasn't that she was lying, it was the reason. They made me lie, she whispered, voice breaking. Not just to hide the truth, but to protect me. And maybe to protect everyone else from what really happened that night. But I can't hide anymore. Not from you. I swallowed hard. Then, what do we do? Her eyes darkened, glinting with a strange fire. We finish what they started. We uncover the truth, before they erase me, or you. The air in the basement grew colder. The shadows outside were creeping closer again, rattling the old metal door, whispering promises of oblivion. And in that moment, I realized, nothing would ever be the same again. The shadows slammed against the metal door, rattling it like a thunderstorm trapped in a cage. Amelia gripped my arm tightly, her nails digging into my skin. We don't have much time, she said. The truth is here, in this basement. And only by exposing it can I be free. She led me to a hidden panel in the far wall. With trembling hands, she pressed a sequence of buttons carved into the rusted metal. A section of the wall swung open, revealing a room filled with files, photographs, and old videotapes. This, she whispered, is everything. The proof of what they did to the real Amelia Green, and to me. We sifted through the files. Names of scientists, politicians, even local law enforcement officials, all involved in a secret experiment codenamed Project Rebirth. The fire, the disappearance, the implanted memories, it was all part of a plan to replace Amelia with a synthetic copy, someone who could walk among people without revealing what really happened. And then I saw it, a video recording from the night of the fire. The screen flickered to life. Flames consumed the greenhouse. The real Amelia was screaming, locked in the basement. But then the camera shifted, a figure stepped forward. Pale, eyes glinting unnaturally, a girl who looked exactly like Amelia Green, but not quite human. She raised her hand, and the fire seemed to bend around her. The real Amelia vanished in a flash of light, leaving no trace. I looked at Amelia beside me. Her eyes were wide, reflecting the flickering light. That's me, she whispered. That's what they made me. I absorbed her life, her memories, even a piece of her soul. And the shadows, they're her anger, her pain, trapped inside me. They follow me wherever I go, because I'm the bridge between life and what should have been death. I stumbled back. So, everything you told everyone, every lie. She shook her head. It wasn't just a lie. It was survival. I had to protect myself from them, from everyone who might use me again. Suddenly, the shadows burst through the walls, swirling like black smoke. They screamed in voices both human and monstrous. I could feel the heat of their anger, the weight of centuries of secrets. Amelia stepped forward, raising her hands. Her body glowed faintly as the shadows recoiled. I can control them, she said. But only if I face the truth. She turned to me. Promise me, whatever happens, you'll tell the world. I nodded, trembling. With a deep, shuddering breath, she extended her hands toward the center of the basement. The shadows converged into a single point of light, then exploded outward, dissipating into nothingness. The air cleared. The fire's echoes were gone. Amelia collapsed to the floor, exhausted, her eyes finally calm. It's over, she whispered. For the first time, I'm free. I helped her to her feet, glancing around the hidden room one last time. The files, the tapes, the evidence, everything that proved her story, was still there. And now, it would be out in the open. We walked out into the night, leaving the shadows behind, knowing that the world would never look at Amelia Green, or the girl who replaced her, the same way again. And for the first time, I realized, the girl who lied to everyone, had only ever been trying to survive.